hey, we had a problem in manufacturing. We followed our policy. We called the first 15 before and the next 15 after, problem solved. And then they just go on their merry way because things happen in manufacturing. Okay? You've done your due diligence. You've done everything you can. It just happens. So you can look at it that way, like in this case. Like I said, it's just an investigation report, having it on file, saying we saw the problem, we fixed it, this is what steps we took to prevent it, and move on. I don't think it's a recurring thing. It's not like you're seeing metal coming in from a vendor, a source, you know, things like that. This is a one-time act of God. The molds broke. Again, in response, you might look at, I might have to do a mold inspection. You know, check them for cracks now more frequently, things like that. So you've done the reasonable steps to mitigate it in the future. But the FDA isn't going to tell you this is the highest frequency. You just have to decide amongst yourselves what you think is a safe product.
Right. So part of the corrective action could be a mold inspection, could be a recommendation to either retest or dump the batch or whatever. Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah. And QA will drive it. QA is the person deciding amongst everybody will get together, and QA will decide what the corrective actions. And you just have to follow up with. You know, they will follow through and check everything and make sure it's there, and you just put it to rest and you go on.
Sure.
Like I said, the FDA is not as like it's not a watchdog. How's that? It's all the other people, like consumer labs or like product safety labs and things like that. Those are more watchdog organizations that tend to. You know, and if you self-recall or you self-done something, they're okay. That's great. You've done that. That's really good of you. You know, again, like I said, it's amazing how many products are recalled on a daily basis, and they just, okay, we just replace them and move on. So, but I think you're in a great spot because you haven't packaged it, so you have the opportunity. Like I said, if you want to use it. You can probably, filter it. And again, your QA, so maybe you do this hand inspection, and then what you do is you do random samples of like 100,000 capsule or 100,000 gummies. You take a random sample and you look for plastic. If you don't find it, you're statistically using mill standards to set up your sampling program. We use this recognized standards or ANSI standards for quality. And we've checked. And so the statistical chance of there being a piece of metal or piece of plastic in there is, 1 in a million. We believe we're below a safe level.
Okay.
And that's another way. Then that way, you have something in record that says we've inspected it and then we've checked it, and we believe we're well below an acceptable level of contamination.
Let me ask you another question.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. There's 2 lots that are affected potentially. One's the kids' multivitamin probiotic, and then there's an adult one. And both these products are packaged in CRCs. They don't have to be because they don't contain iron or acetaminophen, but it's a voluntary sort of a call to put it in CRC. Does the fact that the packages are in CRC, is that a relevant fact, or is that irrelevant to this discussion?
It's irrelevant. You're doing that just as a consumer protection so kids don't eat a bazillion of them.
Okay.
Right. I mean, you're just doing it to prevent kids from eating them like candy because you'll get sick from if you eat the whole bottle.
Right. But the fact that it's